A new study from Germany's Kiel Institute shows that BYD have in fact received more than 3.7 billion US dollars in subsidies, which I think is about 2.1 or 2.2 billion euro. And the EU thinks that it is putting the EU economy at risk and it's damaging the local economy. The Kiel Institute for the World Economy reported a significant rise in support for China's top EV manufacturer BYD. They make fantastic cars. I love BYD cars, obviously, with state aid increasing from 220 million euros in 2020. And then by 2022, that had reached 2.1 billion euros in 2022. 2023 and 24, obviously, we don't know that yet. This growth in aid basically accompanies other benefits as well. From local battery production incentives, they were given money to produce their batteries locally, and then consumers that bought their cars were given rebates for purchasing them. That adds up to, that's more than likely just millions, tens of millions or hundreds of millions if they did really well with consumer rebates. That's not really going to take this into the more billions, you know? So as the European Union probes potential unfair competitive advantages from such subsidies, concerns mount over Chinese EVs' market presence in Europe. Hey folks, I hope you're all doing well. I'm Ben Alexander. This is The Charge Show. I make EV news videos every single day, so it's really great to see you all here. Thank you very much for stopping by. That really means a lot to me. Thank you very much. So the Institute pointed out that this level of subsidy enables Chinese companies like BYD to rapidly expand and gain dominance domestically and also within the EU market. So I email BYD and they normally reply within a day or so. When I email them questions, they usually are very quick at replying, and they give, you know, one sentence or a paragraph in reply. I didn't get anything for this actually, so I thought that was worth mentioning. They obviously don't want to talk about this stuff. There are fears of oversaturation in the EU market from Chinese products by EU leaders that fear that Volkswagen will shrink in size as a player in the EU market, for example. So European nations are voicing their need to address the trade imbalance, according to the Kiel Institute. And industry subsidies in China are considerably higher than those in the EU. Take note, EU and other developed economies, with most of China's public companies benefiting from literally cash injections from the government or the state in 2022. The EU, aiming to bolster its competitiveness, has established a really large, substantial innovation fund, and it is scrutinizing the legality of Chinese subsidies to determine if they create an uneven playing field. Penalties, potentially in the form of tariffs, taxes, as we've been reporting on, could be introduced quite soon. That is almost certainly going to happen, isn't it? That's what is going on, basically, here in Europe. Just in case some of you didn't know, that's what's going on. Chinese authorities literally reject these claims, all of them, literally, asserting that their EV sector's lead is due to superior innovation and robust supply chains and not state aid, which is a position affirmed by the Chinese Minister of Commerce, who basically said, almost word for word, exactly the same response when asked about that. So, as German Chancellor, I think, Olaf Scholz, I think you say his name, I'm not so sure, prepares for a visit to China, I would imagine that this is an opportune moment to engage on the subsidy issue whilst visiting. BYD's evolution from battery producer to a significant player in EVs and the hybrid technology world, fueled by China's EV subsidies, has allowed it to offer competitively priced vehicles, undercutting basically most Western brands in the domestic market. I know some people complained a bit about the price of the Dolphin in the UK, for example, but by and large, what they're offering is incredibly compelling and is a good price. When you do look at the offerings from some other EU companies, they're massively overpriced. If you look at, for example, the Fiat 500e, majorly overpriced. I think it's an awesome car. I actually really want that to be very popular. Too expensive, I think. The Volkswagen ID cars as well, basically all of them overpriced by a fair bit, I think. It's blindingly obvious that we can buy cars or electrical items from other economies that are quite often better than local ones and cheaper. And as consumers, I think we have the right to pay the money that we own to buy them. I think. So the EU are very, very power hungry, as you will probably know by this point in 2024. So it isn't a surprise that they want to thwart success from companies abroad. That makes perfect sense. So I hope things get better in the EU, because I love Europe as a whole, but there are some shifty people in power. Nepotism, unelected leaders, blatant lies in your face, destitution are rife, I think. But I think this is like a lot of places on Earth right now, isn't it? So if China want to help a company that is doing well and showing promise to aid them, kind of like nurturing a child, they absolutely have that right to do that and to support their local business. I think also to protect local economies, the EU also do have maybe some, you could say there's a right of an obligation to look after the local economy, and so maybe they are actually doing that. I wouldn't say I'm on the fence. I kind of see things on both sides, honestly. So what do you all think to it? What do you think, folks? Is this sounding a bit shifty to you all? What are you thinking? I don't think China have done anything wrong by giving support to a local company. Is it good or bad? What's going on? What do you all think? Let me know in the comments.